starting with this one. Entropy is a measure of the disorder of a system. Describe and explain what happens to the entropy of a gas when the temperature is increased. So when the temperature increases, the disorder of gases increases as well. Why does it increase? Because the gas particle, they become further apart. So if there's a gas, the particles would become more energetic and they would overcome the strong intermolecular forces, and that would lead to expansion, which is why there's going to be more disorder created. So if you have a balloon and you heat it, the balloon explodes. The reason it explodes is that the gas molecules, they try to be further apart from each other. The more energetic particles, and when you have more energetic particles, intermolecular forces are broken and gas expands. Not only the forces are broken, but the gas particles are energetic, so they exert pressure on the outside walls of the container as well. So gas expands, which is why disorder is created because of that. So work is going to be done, just like your car airbags. They explode. Why? When gases, whenever gas molecules, they become more energetic, there's going to be expansion. The next one is you just have to figure out which one is entropy change negative, which one is entropy change positive. So solid turning into, sorry, a gas turning into a solid, that's a decrease in disorder. So that's negative. A solid reacting with a liquid to form a solid, that is also a decrease in disorder. A liquid turns into a solid. Last one, there's a gas being formed. Solid reacting with aqueous, producing gases. So whenever gases are formed, disorder increases. So in this case, disorder is going to be produced. And why is the disorder of the first process negative? Because the number of gas molecules decrease. You've got 2 molecules, now you've got just 1 molecule. So the moles of gas, they decrease. So they decrease. Ye clear hai Sara? Alicia, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So for this one, you're supposed to find make sure you have a calculator with you. For this one, you have to find the entropy change. So it's the entropy of the products minus the entropy of the reactants. So delta S is going to be the product entropies, and there's sum minus the reactant entropies. So the product entropy is going to be NH3, that's 193, and that's going to be multiplied by 2. Minus the reactant entropies. The reactant entropies are, it's got N2. So that's 192. And 3 H2s. So that's 131 into 3. So Alicia, can you try and find out what the answer is? Are you doing this?
Yes, sir. Minus 199.
So minus 199, and that's in joules per Kelvin per mole. So remember, entropy, the unit for entropy, it's always given in joules per Kelvin per mole. And then he says calculate delta G at 298 Kelvin. So what is the formula for delta G? Delta G is equal to delta H minus T times delta S. So delta H is 117. And remember, delta H is in kilojoules. Delta S is given, the temperature is also given, that's 298 Kelvins. It should be always in Kelvins. So 298 multiplied by delta S, which is 175, but that needs to be in kilojoules. So you divide by 1000. तो इसका बता दो, what are we getting for this?
Sir, 64.85.
Yeah, we're getting 64 point positive
Yes, sir.
kilojoules per mole. I say, anyways, that's positive. So is it going to be spontaneous or not spontaneous if you have delta G, which is positive? What does that mean? Positive means that the reaction needs energy overall. So it means it's not going to be spontaneous unless you give it energy. Okay, so I'm just going to explain this again, that remember this, that whenever you have a reaction, energy is produced in two ways. One of them is enthalpy change, which is basically the heat energy that is produced or consumed, like a fire burning that produces heat. The other one is that the disorder it creates. Whenever there's gas being produced, there's going to be a lot of disorder that's going to be created. That is going to produce some form of energy. So that's the other one. So overall, if both of them combined is coming out to be positive, that would mean the reaction needs energy and it's not going to be feasible. So then you have this question. So we've kind of done okay, this class, but before we start organic, let me in this class just open and do a random password, but he can instead of just Lisa, how many topics have you done with us?
Sir, I guess this is the fifth one.
So in this class, I'm just going to be doing. We did do transition metals, right? So in this class, I'm just going to do some random past paper questions, just for practice. You have to do organic basically, but I'll wait for that. The exam's going on right now, so you'll probably do that after that. So first thing is complete the electronic configuration of copper 2. So copper 2 is copper is 29 electrons. So copper was your special case, 29 electrons. That's 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, and then you have 3s2, 3p6, and then it's 4s1 and 3d10. Now, if copper is 2 plus, then at the end of the day, it's going to be 3s2, 3p6, and 3d9 would be left. That is what copper is. You're supposed to know the color of the complexes. So let me open the board for transition metals that we did earlier. I'll have notes for that. Just a second. So we did all of this. Complexes. We had studied earlier that when you have complexes, just a bit of a quick revision. These were your D. Substance complexes were that when you have a metal ion, ligands, they surround the metal ion. Like water molecules, their lone pairs get attracted, like copper 2+ in the middle. Water molecules from all sides will start attracting it and will stick to it. They would form data bonds with it. The lone pairs of oxygen would get attracted to copper. So copper will have 6 water molecules. It's going to form a complex, and you need to know the colors of certain complexes, which we had written over here. Copper with 6 water molecules. That's blue.
ये हमने कब की ये से कोर्स है
ये पहले किया था, लेकिन अभी करेंगे, दोबारा भी करेंगे ऑर्गेनिक के बाद, ठीक है?
ठीक
चलो मैं वो उस पे से कर लेता हूँ क्वेश्चंस ना. लेट्स इग्नोर ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स, ठीक है? लेट्स डू इक्विलिब्रिया किया हुआ है?
जी किया मैं वो
अच्छा, उसके अंदर लेट्स डू दीस क्वेश्चंस. अच्छा,
ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स के लेक्चर आपने अपलोड किया
नोट्स
नहीं वीडियोस अपलोड किया
हाँ की भी है. ठीक है, तो हम गो थ्रू भी कर लेंगे, बल्कि गो थ्रू कर लेते हैं, वो तुम्हें भी आइडिया हो जाएगा, रिवीजन भी हो जाएगी. वरना ये दोबारा तो कर लेंगे हम, क्योंकि अभी बहुत टाइम है एग्जाम्स में ना, तो एक दफा फिर कवर कर लेंगे. This one, ये idea ये कि if you have a metal ion and it's dissolved in water, तो or in any solution, the metal ion just it's not the metal ion is not floating around on its own. What happens is that the water molecules, which are polar, which have lone pairs, if you have a copper 2+ ion, the lone pairs, they get attracted to it. So you have these ligands. These are known as ligands. ठीक है? So if you see, जब हम कहते हैं NaCl dissociates, what happens is the Na+1 is not just randomly moving around in water. It's actually completely surrounded by these water molecules, and this ends up forming a complex ion. The water molecules all start sticking to it. ठीक है? Abrar, is concept clear है ये वाला?
जी yes
ठीक है, तो मतलब यहाँ पे if I write dissolving ionic compound, and let's find an image. तो यहाँ पे ना ये नजर आ रहा होगा कि if you look at this image, you would notice that this is what's happening. An ionic compound is a bunch of positive and negative ions all sticking to each other. जब आप उसको you mix it in water, vigorously stir it, what happens is the negative and positive ions both break off, and they get surrounded by water molecules. Like if you have a positive ion, the water molecule is a polar molecule, and it's a polar molecule, and lots of these water molecules will surround it. The same applies to the negative ion. Lots of water molecules will stick to it, because water also has a positive side as well. So that's the formation of a complex ion. So in the first part, he's just asking about the colors of different complexes. So you have to learn certain complexes and their colors. Okay, for example, if copper is surrounded by 6 water molecules, that's usually blue in color. So whenever you have copper ions in water, that's usually blue in color. That's why copper sulfate in solution is blue. But if you add a bit of ammonia to it, what happens is, if you add ammonia to it, ammonia also is a ligand. Ammonia is also a polar molecule. It's got lone pairs. So what happens is, agar aap beech mein na, you start adding ammonia molecules in water, the water molecules, they get knocked out and ammonia starts replacing that. ठीक है? Ibrar, ये clear है point?
जी सर ठीक है.
So that's a different type of complex. You can say that all 6 could be ammonia. So it could be copper with 6 NH3s, and the whole thing will have a charge of +2. Or it could be a bunch of water molecules and a bunch of ammonia molecules. It could be 4 NH3 molecules, 2 water molecules. And these are known as octahedral complexes. Because of the spatial limitation, only 6 ligands are getting attached to it. And it's an octahedral shape. When you have 6 bonds, one is at the top, one is at the bottom, one is on the left, right, back, front, TK. So it forms an octahedral complex. So he was asking for the colors. His question in an exam, he was asking for the color of copper H2O6. So that's going to be a blue solution. Then this one, Cl is also a ligand. What would happen is, okay, if you add chlorine, like in the form of hydrochloric acid, lots of Cl -1 ions. So all the water molecules will start getting knocked out because the Cl -1 also has lone pairs. So the copper 2+ ions will start attracting the Cl -1 ions and their lone pairs and will surround them. And if the concentration is really high, then the copper ions will get surrounded by Cl ions. The overall charge would be -2. Why? Because copper is +2, Cl is -1, -1, -1, and -1. So a greenish yellow solution is formed. So अगर उसी के अंदर ना क्लोरीन ऐड कर दोगे तो greenish yellow solution would be formed. So this one would be yellow in color or greenish yellow. ये भी clear है?
वैसे ये कलर्स हमें याद करने होते हैं कि नहीं?
ये याद करने
kind of.
नहीं, ये याद करने जो यहाँ पे लिखे हुए ना वो सारे याद करने. ठीक है, इसमें कोबाल्ट का भी लिखा हुआ है. कोबाल्ट के कॉम्प्लेक्सेस का भी ना कलर्स यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. कोबाल्ट विद वाटर इज पिंक. एक बीच में यहाँ पे आई थिंक मिसिंग भी, हाँ ये cobalt with chloride ions, that's blue in color. Cobalt with some OH ions, that's a green precipitate. Cobalt with NH3, that's brown. तो ये कलर्स जो है ना ये याद रखने हैं, ठीक है. और ये पूरा प्रोसेस याद रखना है. मतलब जो कुछ यहाँ पे लिखा है वो याद रखना है कि copper with 6 copper ions अगर water के अंदर है, that's blue. If you add a bit of ammonia to it, so ammonia replaces some of the water molecules, it turns deep blue. ठीक है. If you add some Cl -1 into it, Cl -1 is bigger in size, so it forms a tetrahedral complex. It's bigger in size. So because it's bigger in size, इतने ज़्यादा उसके इर्द-गिर्द fit नहीं होता. The spatial limitation, there's a spatial limitation. So only 4 Cl ions are able to surround it, and it forms a tetrahedral complex. If you add NOH to it, then 2 of the water molecules will get replaced by OH ions. And it would form copper hydroxide basically, which is a pale blue precipitate. So you have to kind of remember all of this. So anyways, going back to the question, now he's saying, okay, why do they have different colors? So there's a very important thing that is always asked about transition metals. Why do they form colored compounds? That's a very important question. So the answer to that is, why are all transition metals colored? So इधर आगे, wait a second, where's the explanation? Somewhere over here, shapes of complexes. So this is why are transition metal complexes colored. The reason is that when you have copper ions in the middle, copper ions have lots of orbitals. And most transition metals have an incomplete d subshell. That is the definition of a transition metal, that they form stable ions which have incomplete d subshell. The outer shell is empty. The fourth shell has lost electrons. Whenever a metal forms an ion, the bahir wala jo shell hota, that is always empty. So the outer shell is completely empty. And the copper ion starts attracting water molecules. So it starts attracting the water molecule lone pair, from all sides, from all the 6 sides. Okay? And it has a bunch of orbitals. It's got an s orbital. Okay? There would be a tiny s orbital, a p orbital, and another s orbital p. and it's got this d orbital as well. Now the d orbital is kind of like this. The d orbital has many lobes, 4 lobes. Each one of them has 4 lobes. Yahan pe kahin there's going to be a d subshell drawn. So the d subshell is like this, that it's got many lobes. There are orbitals that exist, there are electrons that exist between the axes, the negative charge distributed between the axes. This one is also between the axes, but the plane is different. This one is also between the axes. So the electron probabilities between the axes for these 3, these are known as dyz, dxz, dxy, depending on which plane it is in. And then there would be certain electrons that would be distributed on the axis. So one of them would be that the electron density would be right on the axis. That's known as a dx square minus y square orbital. And then there is a dz2 orbital, which is like this, that the electron density is on the z axis. So you have 5 different types of orbitals. Okay, Ibrar, is this clear?
जी सर. सर इसमें ये स्पेसेस याद करने के this is dxy, dxz.
Well, जो कुछ in notes में लिखा है, all of this has to be remembered. This is the shape of a typical d orbital, right? But the orientation, there are 5 different. One of them is different. So they're going to ask you to draw a very specific. They're going to ask you कि जिस वो कहते थे ना px draw कर दो या pz draw कर दो. तो ये चारों exactly same है, but the orientation is different. So they would be like, if they ask you to draw dx square minus y square, that means the electron density would be right on the axis. Okay. Alicia, Zahib, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Achha, the next is colored. Why are they colored? That's the question. So, kahan pe tha? Ye sara likha hua hai. So the reason they're colored is, okay, you've got all these. Now, ye jo pink and green, I've combined all the d orbitals together. I mean, the electron densities between the axes, on the axis, the axis ke upar bhi hai, so it's everywhere. So think of the green and the pink ones as all the d orbitals combined together, overlapping with each other. Okay, so lobes, electron density is everywhere. Now, what will happen is that some of the d orbitals would be, the electrons would be on the axis, and some of the d orbitals, their electrons are between the axis. Now, when you have an octahedral complex, the water molecules, they come from outside. Now, they have nothing to do with this atom. Like they're not interested in its orbitals. The water molecules are simply getting attracted to this copper 2+ ion. So the water molecule approaches from the top. Another water molecule approaches from the bottom. One approaches on the x-axis. The other one approaches on the y-axis. So that means all the water molecules and their lone pairs are getting attracted on the axis. So if they're getting attracted on the axis, then that means they would be very close to this green orbital over here, which means it would be very hard to keep electrons in this green orbital over here. Ibra, do you get my point? And it would be easier to keep electrons between the axis in the pink orbitals over here.
सही है, आप फिजिक्स में कैसे कर सारी है वो.
ये मैं कह रहा हूँ, ये ग्रीन और पिंक जो है ना, ये सारे डी ऑर्बिटल्स है ना. कॉपर के पास ये ढेर सारे ऑर्बिटल्स है ना. एस है, पी है, सी, डी और डी है. ठीक है, तो अभी हमने डी देखा था. डी कितने टाइप्स के थे? there was electron density between the axes, or there was electron 5 types. लेकिन उनमें वही टाइप थी ना, इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटीज आर लाइंग बिटवीन द एक्सेस, ऑन द एक्सेस, बिटवीन द एक्सेस, यही चल रहा था ना. ओरिएंटेशन डिफरेंट थी ना, तो मैंने बस ये रफ स्केच बना दिया उसका ना. ऑल ऑफ देम कंबाइंड, although this is not a true sketch, बल्कि all d orbitals, I mean, if I can, so it's a sketch. So it's probably going to be a sketch like this, that if you have all the d orbitals combined together, तो कुछ इस तरह का ही बनेगा ना, कि there would be orbitals that would be on the axis, between the axis, 5 different types है ना. Is this clear?
जी सर.
अच्छा, so कोई और अच्छा sketch तो नहीं है, नहीं. So that's probably the only sketch we have. अच्छा, so the thing is कि अब ये water molecules, अब remember d orbitals जो है और ये सारे orbitals, they are all inside the atom, ठीक है? जो circle बना हुआ है, this is the +2 copper ion, right? और water molecules बाहर से आ रहे हैं, they're all sticking to it, ठीक है? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, so if the water molecules come over here and they stick over here, यहाँ पे आके ना they stick to the copper ion, तो उसके जो lone pairs हैं, they're very close to this green one, right?
Yes.
तो इसका मतलब it's going to be harder to keep electrons in this green one over here. Same goes for this water molecule. If this water molecule approaches and its lone pairs are over here, then they're very close to this green orbital over here. So that means it would be harder to keep electrons in the green one, right? Clear?
क्यों? I mean, नहीं, why would it be harder?
Repulsion होगी ना, क्योंकि ये water molecule इधर आके stick कर रहा है, attach हो रहा है.
जी, तो isn't it a positive ion, तो won't it attract?
नहीं, it would attract it. लेकिन मुझे बताओ कि एक पिंक यहाँ पे भी इलेक्ट्रॉन्स हैं, पिंक वाले में, और ये ग्रीन वाले ऑर्बिटल में भी इलेक्ट्रॉन्स हैं, ठीक है? Which one would experience more repulsion? Which one is closer to its lone pairs?
I mean, the green ones, right?
So, but relatively speaking, it would be easier to keep electrons in the pink one rather than the green one, right? Is that clear?
अच्छा, yeah. जी.
अच्छा, so the point is that before these ligands arrived, let's say there was no ligand, फिर तो all of the orbitals, all of the d orbitals were identical, right? They had exactly the same energy level. But once these ligands, they stick to the atom, what happens is that it becomes easier to actually keep electrons in the pink ones that are between the axes and difficult to keep electrons in the green ones. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
तो उससे क्या होता है? The d subshell splits into two energy levels. Previously, they were all degenerate. They all had the same energy levels. Only the orientation was different, right? But now, अच्छा, but now axis पे electron रखना मुश्किल हो गया है. So x square minus y square and dz square. It's harder to keep electrons over there because there's more repulsion. And it's a lot easier to keep electrons between the axes. In the xy, xz, yz, it's easier to keep electrons. So आपका जो d subshell है ना, it has split into two energy levels. You've got your green orbitals on the.
I mean,
क्या question है?
How do we know कि ये? I mean, this is a three. I mean, how do we know कि ये 3dx square minus y square वाला orbital है और जो higher energy पे है? And how do we know कि 3dx square
अच्छा,
y
वो इस तरह के octahedral complex में all the ligands, I mean, whenever something makes 6 bonds, right? Or is attached to 6 ligands, right? तो shape क्या होती है? That's an octahedral complex, right? और octahedral में क्या होता है? Octahedral में everything, all the bonds are on the axis. Clear?
अच्छा.
तो क्योंकि असल में ना इशू ये कि अगर वो वापस जाके वो डी की शक्ल देखो ना, कहाँ गई है? अच्छा, तो रिमेम्बर कि यहाँ पे देयर इज नो एक्स एंड वाई, राइट? मतलब अगर मैं एक्सेस इसको इस तरह कर लेता तो दिस वुड हैव बीन एक्स एक्सिस, राइट? डू यू गेट माय पॉइंट?
जी.
सो वो रिलेटिवली स्पीकिंग होता है on the axis. When I say on the axis, what I basically mean is क्योंकि axis तो कहीं पे भी draw नहीं है ना, so when I say on the axis, what that means is कि ligand जहां से आ रहा है ना, उसको मैं axis कह रहा हूँ, और उसके सामने जो orbital पड़ा है ना, that would be the one that would be lying on the axis. Is that clear?
जी, ठीक.
तो ये जो axis वाले थे ना, they were dx square minus y square and dz square. The ones that are not on the axis are dxy, dxc, dyz. So the d subshell splits into two energy levels. And if it splits into two energy levels, what happens is that there's a tiny energy gap that is created. And now what can happen is electrons can kind of switch between the orbitals. Like electrons can jump from the pink orbitals to the green ones and from the green ones to the pink ones. They can sort of make this transition, and there's going to be an energy that would be required for that. Especially if you're moving from the lower energy D subshell to the higher energy D subshell. They would need to absorb certain amount of energy from outside. क्योंकि मुश्किल होगा ना, एक्सेस पे जाना मुश्किल होगा तो उसको थोड़ा सा एनर्जेटिक होना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? Is that idea clear?
Yes.
So when they're doing that, they're going to absorb a certain frequency from the visible spectrum. And that frequency matches this energy gap. Exactly. यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ भी होगा, energy is proportional to frequency. ठीक है? Remember this energy is proportional to frequency. कि केवल अगर एक स्विंग है ना वो बहुत स्लोली मूव कर रही है तो उसका मतलब उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसी बहुत ही कम है तो उसमें एनर्जी भी बहुत कम है. इफ देयर इज अ स्विंग दैट मूव्स वेरी फास्ट और बहुत रैपिडली टू एंड फ्रो मूव कर रही है, that means it's more energetic. So remember, this energy is proportional to frequency. So this energy gap matches specific frequencies from the visible spectrum. It's going to absorb those frequencies. तो इसलिए आपको कलर्स नजर आते हैं क्योंकि ट्रांजिशन मेटल के अंदर the electrons are making these transitions between the D subshell and they're constantly absorbing frequencies from the visible spectrum. And when they do that, अगर एक इलेक्ट्रॉन ने ना रेड लाइट को एब्जॉर्ब कर लिया, so if they do that, तो वो रेड लाइट को रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं करेगा. So that means आपका जो स्पेक्ट्रम होगा, it's not going to show red light. So you're going to see complementary colors. यानी अगर उसने रेड को एब्जॉर्ब कर लिया ना, तो आपको बाकी कलर्स नजर आ रहे होंगे, but you won't be able to see red. ठीक है? Is that clear?
Yes.
इसलिए if you always see a complementary color. Like if you see blue, that means blue is the thing. Blue shades are the ones that it's not absorbing. वो जो yellow और red है ना, वो सारे वो absorb कर रहा है. ठीक है? So remember this, कि pretty much all atoms they make these transitions. But what happens is कि दूसरे जो atoms है ना, they absorb energy from frequencies that don't belong to the visible spectrum. या तो उनका energy gap बहुत ज्यादा होता है, या energy gap बहुत कम होता है. For transition metals, मतलब इलेक्ट्रॉन जो है वो किसी भी ऑर्बिटल से किसी भी और ऑर्बिटल में जंप कर सकता है. उसके ऊपर कोई लिमिटेशन नहीं है. इट कैन गो एनीवेयर. लेकिन अगर वो एक्सरेज एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा है या वो इंफ्रारेड एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा है या रेडियो वेव्स एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा है, you won't notice anything. But when it absorbs visible spectrum, you're going to notice a color difference. ठीक है? Clear?
जी सर.
चलो ठीक है, जैसे कंटिन्यू करेंगे नेक्स्ट टाइम ही मंडे की क्लास करते हैं. ठीक है?
थैंक यू सर.